Hey guys, welcome back to Embers and Ash. My name's Ashley, if you didn't know, and today we're talking all about productivity in motherhood. Kind of a contradiction. I know it can be a real struggle to be productive with children, so I wanted to share what I'm doing, what I've learned, the techniques I use to try and be as productive as possible, and hopefully you guys can apply this to your life. This is also a very realistic list. I'm gonna share what I've used and what actually works. Okay, let's get into it. The first tip I have for being productive is to very carefully choose what tasks you do while your child is awake and what tasks you do while they're napping. You can still be productive when your child's awake as long as you're choosing the right tasks. Anything that requires sitting down probably is not a good choice to do when your baby's awake, because depending on their age, they're probably moving around, getting into things, falling down, needing help. And if you're trying to get something done that requires you to sit down, you're gonna be up and down the whole time and not get as much done as you want to. So I like to try and do my chores while Rook is awake. Things like doing the dishes, wiping the counter, vacuuming, all that kind of stuff can be done while Rook is awake because I can take a break and help him for a second and go back to it, and it doesn't really mess up my flow. I also try and use natural cleaners in my house, so I'm never concerned about using a toxic chemical while Rook is around. So basically anything that requires you to move around is probably your best choice for things to get done while your child's awake. The next tip I have for you guys is if your child won't let you be alone while they're awake. It's all fine and dandy if your child is playing independently while you're doing the dishes, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes they're going through a leap or they're just overtired, fussy, and they need your interaction. The solution here, you've probably heard of before, is using a carrier. I use this especially when I'm making dinner because I can't take as many breaks if things are like burning on the stove, you know? So if Rook really needs me, I just throw him in the carrier and I can get everything done and he's happy because he's with me. The third tip I have is that you rotate your child's toys. This is a proven method to keep your child engaged for longer because they're not getting bored of the toys that they've always played with every day of every week. So if you can rotate them weekly, bi-weekly, whatever works for you, even if it's an old toy, if they haven't seen it for a week or two, when it comes back out, they're gonna be excited to see it and they've forgotten about it and they're just excited to play with it again. So that helps your productivity, keeping your child entertained. One of my favorite ways to entertain Rook when I just need to get something done and he is not happy just being on his own is using the Jolly Jumper. I know this only works for a certain age gap, especially because there's concerns with like their hips and their spine. So it's not a solution for every baby, but if your child is in the age group where you can use a Jolly Jumper, it is a fantastic way to keep them entertained for a little bit so you can get whatever it is that you need to get done. The next tip that I have, I don't know if everyone's gonna agree on this, but often I don't eat while my child eats. We're doing baby-led weaning, so Rook can eat on his own. I don't have to interact with him. I just have to monitor him, make sure that everything's good and safe. But I like to use the time that Rook is eating to get things done that I typically wouldn't be able to get done while he's awake. Things like those sitting down tasks, paperwork, computer work, mopping the floor, because he's so preoccupied with eating that I can just get stuff done, you know? And I also found that eating is one of those tasks that I can do even if Rook needs me. I don't do this every day because I do think it's important to like eat meals as a family together, but if I can keep an eye on him eating and do that thing at the same time, I find it very helpful. Okay, the next tip I have is that you assume that there's always going to be a write-off day in your week. This has been something that I've learned over time. You can't expect to be productive every day, and if you do, you're probably gonna disappoint yourself. If I have one day of the week where I assume I'm getting nothing done, I'm more likely to get my to-do list done for the week, because even if it isn't that specific day that I don't do anything, if there's another day in the week where Rook needs me and I can't be productive, then I can move those tasks to the day that I originally assigned for doing nothing, if that makes sense. I find that nowadays most people just put way too much on their plate and they have too high of expectations of how much we should be doing and getting done, and this societal pressure of productivity is a little overwhelming. So if you make a realistic list of the things you want to get done and not fill your whole week with to-dos, you're more likely to get them done. And along with that, be flexible with your days. I try and make, like I've already said, a plan for the week, not necessarily a plan for each day, because Rook is unpredictable, most children are unpredictable, and you aren't necessarily going to get everything done in a day that you want to. So if you make a plan for the week, you're just more likely to get it all done. The next tip I have for you guys is more about mental health. This is something I'm really working on, and that is to not give up or give in when you're having a bad day. It can be really hard when something goes wrong in the morning and you just want to give up and just say you're having a bad day, nothing's going to change it, and just kind of, like I said, give in to that feeling and that mindset. And that's the worst thing you can do for yourself, because there are a lot of ways you can turn a day around, and you're guaranteed to have a bad day if you tell yourself you're gonna have a bad day. If you try and change your mindset and find ways to make the day better, it might not be a better day, but you at least have a chance of making it a better day. And you're more likely to get stuff done when you're having a good day and you're in a better mindset, you know? Again, something I'm working on. It's very easy to just give in. It's a lot harder to try and lift your mood and find ways to fix it. And the last tip I have for you guys, which is the most important, and that is to redefine productivity. It is productive to take care of yourself, to rest, to play with your kid, to care for your kid. It's so important that you take time to play with your child, or even just caring for them. Meeting their needs is the most productive thing you can do in your day. So if you aren't checking anything off your list, but you took a nap, you read a book to your child, you fed them that day, that is all being productive, even if sometimes we're told it's not. So that is all the advice I have for you guys. If you have any more tips on productivity, please leave a comment down below so we can all help each other out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!